back with you, Sports Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, supertalktv.com. That's where you can watch. If you missed the show, you can always get it on demand. You can grab the SuperTalk Live app. Lots of ways for you to consume it as a podcast as well. We have been waiting to have this conversation, and we have internally said, hey, we should reach out to Jeremy McClain, and finally settled on, no, we've just got to wait. Well, we don't have to wait anymore. Jeremy McClain joins us on the Farm Bureau phone line. He's the athletics director at the soon-to-be member of the Sun Belt Conference, Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Jeremy, great to see you, man. I think congratulations is the right thing to say.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you guys having me on, but we are very, very excited about the opportunity to join the Sun Belt. And, of course, that's going to happen in a half officially. But had the opportunity to celebrate that yesterday on campus, do a full press conference, fan reception. Our folks are extremely excited about what this means, and just a great move, great fit. I think Southern Miss is a great fit for the Sun Belt. I think the Sun Belt is a great fit for Southern Miss, and so extremely excited about what the future holds for us.
We have lots of things to ask you about, but I have a really important question to start with. We were talking about Charlie Morton's performance in the World Series, pitching on a broken leg. I don't know if you caught any of this last segment or not, but this somehow devolved into most painful injuries that we've gone through. You're a former athlete. Most painful injury that you have had, athletic-related or otherwise?
Actually, what happened to Charlie last night, I had a very similar experience junior year of college. So I don't know if you guys remember, and I'm trying not to get long-winded, but the -5 bats in college baseball.
Yeah.
We were still playing with the -5, the hot bat. So I took one right off the leg, lower leg. Was, I think, finished at least a couple of innings. Ended up having a hairline. Was able to come back and pitch on it a little bit. I might have missed one start. I can't remember, but that was probably one of the most painful things I've ever been through. Was not having a solid foundation is not a good place to be. So that was kind of reminiscent last night. But a gutty deal on his end to get a few outs after that happened.
I'm sure you were still letting it fly at 96, just like Charlie Morton last night.
It's when you're throwing 86, those injuries don't really affect. So I was good.
There you go. All right, so you said a second ago, a great move for Southern Mississippi. I could not agree with you more, but I want to hear in your words why this is such a good move.
Yeah, for several reasons. I think for us, obviously, things have been crazy with the realignment process. So I think for us, what makes sense about the Sun Belt is number one, the geography, the regional aspect, and the regional rivalries that we can create. Some of them already exist because we're playing Troy and South Alabama and Louisiana Lafayette and schools that are within our footprint already out of conference and have some historical roots with some of those institutions. So now we get to be in a conference with those institutions and play them on a regular basis, and that will only become, I think, greater. And so part of that is reduced travel costs for us. In what would be Conference USA moving forward, we would have one bus trip to Louisiana Tech. In addition, we have 6 institutions that we can get on a bus and travel to. And so it's a huge difference when you talk about cost savings. And then the time our student athletes spend traveling when we have to fly to El Paso or Miami or wherever the case may be, now we get to drastically reduce that time that gets eaten up. And so I think that geography piece makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. I think the exposure that we're going to get through the ESPN contract that the Sun Belt has in play. I don't know, the last week, Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State played on a Wednesday night, sold out in Boone, North Carolina. Fantastic game, last second field goal. And so those are the things that we look forward to, kind of being on that type of stage. And so great TV deal with ESPN. And then I think opportunity. I think the football league has a chance to be a really, and people think this is just me kind of trying to hype this up, but has to be the best group of 5 football conference in the country. And I think the door has been open for that to happen. And then I think if you look at the baseball league, if you announced today that they're going to join the league, if you guys remember last year, they were a #1 seed in their region last year. And so you add Old Dominion and Southern Miss to a league with Coastal Carolina National Championship 5 years ago, to Louisiana, who's traditionally very, very strong, South Alabama. So the baseball league, I think, has a chance to be a top 5 league in the country.
We're going to press pause on this conversation with Jeremy on the video feed. His internet's shorting out just a little bit. Borky, I'm going to have you call. I just sent you that number. Let you call Jeremy. We're going to talk to him on the phone and make sure we don't miss any of this. I think too important of a conversation for us to miss any of it. Richard Cross, Michael Borky, Brian Haydad, Sports Talk Mississippi, streaming at SuperTalk.fm. Visiting with Jeremy McClain, the athletics director at the University of Southern Mississippi. They are in the process of making the transition from Conference USA to the Sun Belt Conference, and it's going to be a big deal. And you heard him talking there about regional rivalries. And Jeremy, I'm not sure what we did. I think that went to your voicemail when Borky tried to call. This is a disaster, and it's my fault. So he may have it on airplane mode, Borky. Let's just hang up the video feed. We're doing live radio on the fly, and I guess sometimes it just happens. So let's hang up that video feed altogether, if we can do that. And, hey, Dad, we will let Borky work on getting Jeremy, and we might ask him nicely if he can hang on with us for one more segment and try and get the answers to some of these questions. He's joining us on the Farm Bureau phone line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. But we talked about rivalries, and that's something that he pointed out as well. I think we're good to go. So, Jeremy, let's just go back to the rivalry conversation. You and I were talking before the interview began as well about the fact that part of what's really special about college athletics is when you have rivalries, and this makes a whole lot more sense now.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's what college athletics was kind of built on, right, was regional rivalries and kind of that love-hate relationship kind of within the league. And I'll point to the SEC as really, I think, capturing that in a lot of ways, and I think it's what made them stronger. I think that the league has this great sense of pride, but they love to hate each other too. And so I think that's healthy in a lot of ways. And so the regional rivalries that can be created and already exist for us with some of the institutions in the Sun Belt, South Alabama, Troy, Louisiana, we've played them over the years and have already created rivalries. Now we get to play them every year within a conference. So I think that creates a great opportunity for us to really grow into, this healthy competitive environment.
So for folks that haven't read the story or done all the research, what are the nuts and bolts on the transition? What's the timeline? Is it engraved in stone? Is it kind of etched in sand? How are we going about this?
Yeah, so bylaws call for this to be a transition that happens in the summer of 2023, which is basically about 20 months from now. And so, there may be some room to talk through that and decide if a different date works better. But as we sit here today, the summer of 23 is kind of what the bylaws call for. And there are reasons that it's done that way, scheduling challenges that, are hard to adjust on short notice. But, it's obviously important to us that our student athletes don't have a different experience just because we're transitioning to a new conference. And so we'll keep an eye on that and have the right discussions when the time is right. But as of today, the summer, July 1st, 2023 would be the date that we officially transition.
You mentioned the exposure from the ESPN deal from the Sun Belt and that great game with Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State last week. When we talked about I'm asking another question within a question. The thing that stood out to me about that game, beyond the fact that there was a great atmosphere, was it was a really well-played, high-quality football game. It feels like the teams in the Sun Belt Conference are comfortable with who they are, they know who they are, and they are committed to winning. Do you see that when you look at the league?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And I think one of the things that there's maybe a little bit of perception that has to be overcome, and they're getting there because they've, over the last couple of years, continued to beat Power 5 teams, win at a high level, and be ranked in the top 25. But there may be a little bit of perception there that it's going to continue to take some time. But in the league, they've had 10 football playing members for the past 5 or 6 years, and almost all of those institutions in that time frame have made significant football investments, whether it be football buildings, whether it be stadiums, indoor practice facilities. They've all made significant commitments to football. And so if you travel around that league and look at what, the facilities those student athletes are functioning in, it would surprise everybody listening on this call. And so the commitment's there. They understand who they are. They understand how they can be successful. And you have a lot of history in that league of programs that have had a lot of success. And I think that's one of the reasons Southern Miss seemed like a great fit. And I think that's going to bode well for us.